Hey guys, Doug Giles here. A special Warriors, Rich.
And Wildmen. What's happening today, Doug? I'm excited.
Yeah, we got a great guest, Judge Jeanine Pirro, and I'm going to introduce her right now. I'm going to bring her on to our Rowdy broadcast. Judge Jeanine Pirro, most of you guys know her. She's the host. I said she's the host of the epic ass-kicking show on Fox News every Saturday night at 9 p.m., Justice with Judge Jeanine. Also, the judge. Ooh, Rich, she's got a great book out called Liars, Leakers, and Liberals. New York Times, man. New York Times, #1 bestseller. Congrats, Judge. You know the New York Times has got to hate that accolade, eh?
Hey guys, Doug Giles here with Warriors, Rich.
And Wildmen. What's happening, Doug?
Hey, I'll tell you what's happening. We've got Judge Jeanine Pirro on the other line, and she's host of the epic ass-kicking show on Fox every Saturday night at 9, Justice with Judge Jeanine. And Rich and our Warriors and Wildmen subscribers, she's the author of the new book, Liars, Leakers, and Liberals. And get this, it's the New York Times #1 bestseller. Congrats, Judge. You know the New York Times got to hate that accolade, don't you?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. And second, yes, you know, they went through hoops to go through the numbers. But it is very sweet, I must tell you. And, you know, I think it's a testament to the American people and their reaction, you know, to what's going on in Washington, but also to the media and you know, the left trying to shut down the right, and now they're doing it in open view with everyone. I mean, the whole thing is lunacy. But, you know, the book is a very easy read, and it's footnoted, and it makes all my arguments for me.
Hey, speaking of the New York Times, the storied paper's latest editorial board hire, as you well know, is this rather caustic chick named Sarah Young, who I don't think a cobra on crack could spit more venom than this chick does at white people, in particular white dudes.
Yep, white dudes and cops. You see, you know, I really said to myself, look, there's got to be more to this. The New York Times, I mean, they at least pride themselves on being objective and fair and open-minded. But, man, if your mind is open to F the police, F white men, I love to watch old white men suffer. I mean, give me a break. You know what? The New York Times has finally identified itself not as a liberal or a Democrat newspaper, but it's a leftist socialist newspaper. Yeah. And anyone who allows a woman like that to stay on the esteemed editorial board of any newspaper that the journalists look up to for some kind of direction on how to handle things, I mean, it's just a sad day. The gray lady has flipped her wig.
Hey, Judge, I have a question for you, and I love your show. I'm reading your book. We'll talk about that in a little bit, too. In America, the term toxic masculinity is being attributed to a lot of the causes of the problems in our country today. And when they start talking about toxic masculinity, they're almost always referring to traditional masculinity. And we know in statistics across the board, we see them everywhere, that one of the major causes of problems in America is fatherless homes. And so being a judge, I'm sure you've experienced and seen a lot of that. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, I have been a prosecutor, judge, and a DA for over 3 decades. I mean, I know what I speak when it comes to, you know, crime. It's my wheelhouse. But when you look beyond the crime itself, it's not unusual to find someone from a fatherless home, someone who maybe was abused as a child or neglected. And I think that, you know, the breakdown of the family that a lot of people talked about, you know, in the 90s, it continues to contribute to some of the problems that we're having today. And but it's even more than that. I mean, what's happening, you know, without a father in the family is a lot of these young people join gangs because they need some kind of, you know, something to belong to be a part of. It's all not good, not good.
Yeah, really good.
Hey, Judge, I want to go back to the New York Times. I can't remember who their editor is, who told Trump to, dial back with the fake news rhetoric. But I don't know if you've seen it or not. But on Amazon Prime, they've got a series called The Fourth Estate, and this is inside the Gray Lady. And the Gray Lady's not so gray. She's pretty black and white with their biases and disgust for Trump. And they're daft enough to parade it on Amazon Prime. Have you seen the show?
No, I have not seen the show, but I must tell you, nothing surprises me. I mean, if they're willing to throw me off the view on ABC, an open view of everyone, and, they're willing to, people are willing to contribute and create fake news like they've done repeatedly, then nothing surprises me anymore. And you know what? It's not just me. It's the American public. That's why they elected the outsiders. They knew instinctively something was wrong. And the whole idea of the fake press, and I write about this in Liars and Leakers, I mean, you've got this guy, Brian Ross, who is a well-respected investigative journalist with ABC, comes out and says, Michael Flynn is going to testify against Donald Trump, big report, and he's going to testify that Donald Trump needs to get in touch with the Russians. I mean, this guy was an award-winning journalist.
Hey, Judge, you talk about The View. You can shouted down on The View. Candace Owens had, and that Charlie Hurt, I think that's his name, got drinks thrown on him yesterday. Is what you're experiencing, what we're experiencing online and stuff, is this a microcosm of the condensed hatred for Trump spilling over the brewer's vat into the general populace?
Well, I think you're going to see more of it, and the answer to your question is yes. It's happened to me many times. I don't talk about it. But listen, here's the bottom line. It's not about Trump. It's about the Constitution.
Yep.
It's about the fact that I have the right to say what I want. I have a First Amendment right, and it is a God-given right. Nobody gave it to me. The government didn't say, okay, Jeanine, you can speak. This is a right that we have in this country that's recognized, allegedly, by the government, and the left has been doing everything they can. And when they do it to me on national television, and then threw me out of the building with a get the F out of the building, me and three people that I was with at the time who were flabbergasted. And I just said, they kept cursing at us, get the F out of the building. This is ABC?
That's crazy.
Are you kidding me?
That's crazy.
Mean, but it's just the beginning, guys. And I believe that when they go after cabinet members and everyone else, you can rest assured that it's not over.
Wow. Something I was thinking about when I was reading the book, and I'm in shock of how many of these people can break the law, they can perjure themselves, they can leak information, and they don't get in trouble. And I worked for a government contractor testing weapons for 13 years. We had OPSEC meetings all the time. And so we were warned. I'm telling you, if one wrong email gets sent, you make a mistake, you're fired on the same day and you will be prosecuted. And that was talking about a mistake. That wasn't. And so when I see these things, Judge, they make me lose my mind. So there's two different sets of law. There's law for us and law for them.
Well, and there's no doubt about it. And that's why I wrote the book. Truth is, look, this is my wheelhouse. I know crime and I know a con when I see it. Yeah. And what's going on in this country, you had the Department of Justice and the FBI trying to drag a corrupt woman across the presidential finish line and then tee up a fake investigation as an insurance policy in the event Donald Trump were to win the election. And this country has been fractured ever since. Yeah. These guys did this make-believe Russia collusion delusion baloney. And, we are still fighting each other. Here's the problem also. When police stand down at Berkeley during 12 hours of protest over a conservative coming to speak, we're in big trouble because they know that's where they have the power when it comes to the police and not enforcing the law. And I'm tired of people running around burning the flag, saying they hate America, F America, outside Maxine Waters' office. And look, if you don't like America, change your address.
That's right.
You want to take a knee? Well, you know what? Go to church maybe. Yeah. But we've all had enough of it. And that's why I wrote the book. And I think that's why the book is receiving, pretty good support. is number one on the New York Post, not the New York, the Washington Post and the New York Times. I mean, even they can't deny it. So Americans have to stay tuned for, keep an eye on our politicians. You don't like them, get them the hell out.
Yeah. Hey, Judge, speaking of liars that you reference in your book, Facebook and Twitter, Facebook in particular, says that they're not banning or blocking any conservatives. My site, clashdaily.com, we had, before the inauguration, tens of millions of people per week reached on Facebook. Now it's only in the hundreds of thousands after the inauguration. Is Facebook and Twitter banning and putting the thumb screws to conservatives? And if they are, can you tell number 45, El Presidente, Mr. Donald Trump, to crush them for me and other publishers who helped get him elected? Because this is disgusting, man. These little punks that can't stand any kind of freedom of speech. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It is amazing. And they call us fascists. Fascism is when you accept only one way of thinking. Any other way is not tolerated. And that's what fascism is. And when these bozos are willing to shut us down at any cost, if we don't believe what they think, they are the fascists. And it's time that America got engaged. And America did get engaged. That's why they elected the outsider. They said enough of this nonsense. And the economy's never been better. Unemployment is, historic in terms of, African Americans, Hispanics. We've got more jobs than people to fill them. This is a war about the capitalism versus socialism.
Absolutely.
And the George Soroses of the world are interested in destroying this country, and that's what they want to do. And Americans who work too hard, 2 and 3 jobs to pay their rent and the mortgage, and simply want to be safe and have their families taken care of, they've got to react to this. I'll take the hits. I do take hits all the time. But you know what? It's fine. It's fine. I'm a big girl. I can handle it. In the end, it's more than just about me. It's about this nation and who we are as a nation. I'm sick and tired of these liberals threatening and harassing, and there's no question that there will be, they will get even more rowdy. No doubt about it.
Hey, Judge, we got 30 seconds. Why should the 500,000 mom and pops and young 20-somethings listening to you right now buy the Judge's book?
Well, the book is a clear example of what's going on in the country. If you're arguing with anybody and you want a good argument and facts to back it up, read my book. I've known Donald Trump 25 years. You want to know about the man and who he is? Read my book. If you want to read the stuff that the media will not tell you about, read my book. And if you like my opens on my show, Justice, read my book. You'll be happy. How's that?
Hey, great.
That's awesome.
Great stuff, Judge. Appreciate you being on Warriors and Wildmen podcast, and we'll put live links to your book, Liars, Leakers, and Liberals. And keep stomping skulls. You're doing it great.
Thank you, and all your listeners. God bless. Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Cheers.
George.
Hey, Rich, great stuff with the Judge, as always. She never disappoints. I think she's got some of the greatest rants, opening monologues known to mankind that are out there right now for anybody, any pundit who's center right. That lady, oh my gosh, man. Can you imagine being on the wrong side of JJ? I'm talking Judge Jeanine.
No.
She will leave blisters.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. You know what, Doug? She's awesome, man. I've liked watching her for years, and it was great to have her on the podcast to talk to her. And she's an amazing lady with some incredible insight. And I was reading her book, and as I'm reading it, like I was saying earlier, it just blows my mind, Doug, the stuff that's happening. And people like her need to write that stuff down so we can see it. Because you're not going to get it. You're not going to hear it on CNN.
Yeah, you're not going to hear it. You're not going to hear it. I'll tell you a place you're not going to hear it. You're not going to hear it in little evangelical circles.
Nope.
Because those little puss in boots have been told that we don't need to bring that kind of rhetoric and that kind of dialogue into our diocese or our little covered dish dinners. And I'm telling you what, Warriors and Wildmen listener, look, I'm a Texan. I was raised with Southern values, gentleman etiquette, and we were told back in the day, Rich, I'm sure you were as well. You're a little younger than me, but, hey, don't talk about religion and politics. Look, I agree. You know, Ecclesiastes 3, there's a time for every event under heaven.
Yep.
There's a time to shut the front door, and there's a time to speak out. And I believe, man, that now is the day that we should talk about politics and religion.
Yep, definitely.
Because you know, our religious liberties, little Christian, they're vanishing like a pack of smokes at an AA meeting. Rich, today on Clash Daily, we put up a post, a blogger who wrote about banning the burqa. He's a freaking blogger,
right?
Saying, "Hey, I think women shouldn't be forced to wrap their head in that swaddling towel." He got fined $60,000 for his blog post.
That's insane. See, check this out. Something the judge brought up, and then something this week on Facebook. I was talking to somebody on Facebook, commenting back and forth, and they told me, they said, "Look, the media is dividing us." And I told this person, I said, "Look, it's not the media." And the judge said, "It's the Constitution, versus the people that are against the Constitution." And I totally agree with that. I actually said that, but I think it's even more than that, Doug. It's not just the Constitution, those are against the Constitution, which I think that represents traditional America versus what people want it to be, which is Europe, which has failed, but apparently we want to fail. I don't know. And then the other thing is, it's those who are for God and then those that are against God. It's not some small thing. It's capitalism versus socialism. It's God versus the godless, and not just the godless, Doug, because you can be godless and be a good person, quote, but these people are anti-God. And so here's my problem. Here's where we're going. So they're attacking free speech. And I've said before, I support free speech, including hate speech. Say whatever you want. I want to know what's in your heart. I want to know where you stand so I can keep my eye on you. Say what you want to say. I'll fight for your right to say it. I don't agree with it. But you can't start making hate speech wrong on Facebook, wrong on this, and then keywords are bullying, and we're all talking about bullying. I don't even want to get on that topic. But here's the problem with it, Doug. So what's happening is they're taking away our freedom of speech. But what's that going to lead to? Taking away our freedom of religion. Because now they're going to say, preaching the Bible against anything that they support.
Doing it.
Yeah, that is hate speech. So what's happening? We're losing freedom of speech. We're going to lose freedom of religion. And guess what else they're trying to take away? Our right to have guns. You know what? We're no longer America. This thing could turn into a civil war. I'm not kidding, Doug. It could happen.
Well, Rich, I think you're being a little negative because, I saw a movie one time called Schindler's List where the cops and the military were the only ones with guns and they were banning speech. Well, wait, you know what? I'm wrong, because in the end, it really didn't turn out that well to those who gave up their weapons and gave up their right to speak freely. Yeah, I think they liquidated millions of people.
Yeah, they did.
And, again, this goes back to the crux of Warriors and Wildmen. We talk about courage, we talk about character, we talk about legacy. Listen, courage. Here's something that's so funny, Rich. People all the time say, "Hey, man," you don't look like a badass. You ain't got tattoos. You don't look like you can bench press 400. And it's like, is that what you're equating courage and bad acidness to? Listen, I don't have a giant beard, I don't.
I'm working on mine.
When I put mine out, I look like a homeless man. So I get that kind of Ted Kaczynski beard. I see guys on podcasts all the time, that are, men's men, and they've got these, and we've talked about it. They got these ridiculous, Taliban-like Persian ibex type beards. It looks like they love way too much. They're just grooming it all the time with wax and seed oil and stuff. To me, that's a little Anyhow, when you speak the truth to liberals, when you go out day in and day out, and you with your team of writers blast the fonts of sewage that spew anti-Christian rhetoric, anti-American crap, that's courageous. And a lot of my writers and a lot of my buddies, a lot of my techies, they're geeks, and they don't look rough and rugged. But you know what? They, without a pseudonym or anonymity, go out there without a little hoodie and a face mask, and they freaking let the people who are in power that try to oppress good folks like our Warriors and Wildmen listeners, They go out there day in and day out and let them have it, man.
And that's courage.
Yeah, you damn right it is. And now's the day to speak out and speak forthrightly, and it's going to take some huevos rancheros to do that. Hey, going back to the good judge's interview that we've had, and the incredible work she's done, again for decades in regards to truth, justice, in the American way. I wish you, the warrior and Wildmen dude that is watching right now, I wish you had a quarter of her frickin' moxie, man.
Yeah.
Rich, I don't know if this is misogynist. I don't know what it is about me, but anytime that I saw a girl do something that heretofore I haven't tried to do to an extent. Let me give you an example. Because I'm never going to kiss a man, so not that kind of stuff. Not like, oh, look what she did. I want to do that too. No, but when we were when I was in college at our college campus Christian group. They took me because they saw that, okay, this guy's really not liking our Kumbaya festivals. Let's take him rappelling. I'd never rappelled in my life. Done a lot of hunting, done a lot of other stuff, been around, precipitous perches, but never, scaled the face of them, either going down or going up. And I was like, this kind of looks weird. I'm not fearful. I'm going to heaven, but this kind of looks kind of awkward. I saw this beautiful girl just frickin' put her carabiners on, rope up, and just right down a 300-foot face. And I was like, man, if she can do it, I sure as shit not going to stand up here on the top of this cliff, shaking in my Chuck Taylors. And my point being, if you don't get it, Warriors and Wildmen listener, if Judge Jeanine, as a 67-year-old woman, can get out there and give it to them hard for things that matter, again, the Constitution, our cherished republic, our precious and vulnerable liberties, then you know what? You should be able to. Now, you might not be as articulate and tough and perspicacious as the judge is, but speak out, please. Come on, folks.
Take a stand.
Put down, and don't think masculinity. Look at me, man. I'm lifting weights and I'm getting another tattoo or anything like that.
Yeah.
Hey, speak out. Do that for a month.
Takes more courage.
Instead of working your biceps. And I guarantee you'll grow in other areas of life instead of just physically.
Yep. And that's the reality is you got to stand up and you got to stand out. People don't want to because even on Facebook, every time you're going to post anything, it's like, is it worth it? Because I'm about to get roasted. And you will. They'll light you up, not just social media. In person, I had a lady telling me some stuff about California. I said, hey, let me break it down for you. I don't roll like that. I'm from Arizona. I don't roll with the California stuff. I'm the wrong guy. You can stop right now. And she looked shocked. I said, don't be shocked. I'm setting a boundary. Me and you aren't having this conversation. And she backed off quick because I wasn't going to do it. I'm not going to put up with it. And the longer you put up with it, the more people feel comfortable dumping that garbage on you.
Did you see Candace Owen, and I got to roll here in a second. Did you see Candace Owen get accosted by the crazy white liberals? And they were they were complaining about white supremacy to Candace. She's like, I'm black, hello.
Yeah, it don't make any sense. And they were screaming in her face.
Yeah, and I think, again, you watch her poise. She didn't back off. She didn't back down. And again, guys.
She also didn't get rattled.
Yeah, no, that's
some composure right there.
She's one well-modulated human being, I tell you what. And that's the soup du jour, man. Just like we talked about before, Rich, the left's ideas, they're unreasonable, they're untenable. They've been tried and found wanting everywhere that they've been deployed, from the USSR now to Venezuela, which is a blistering example of the fecklessness of their policies. And their only recourse is now violence and shouting down and names. And I'm afraid, Big Dog, I think it's going to get worse.
It's going to get worse. I agree. Hey, man, make sure you go on warriorsandwildmen.com and get our man card. You got to get the card, man, because you could do epic stuff. You were created to do epic stuff. This thing's made out of steel. See that? Steel.
Yeah, and and every time you do something epic, and it might be just mentally, might be in regards to just loving your wife and kids or something like that, to where you did something that astounded you and you think pleased the Father. then get a hammer, get a chisel, and scar the card. And also, guys, we have just a few places left on our Warriors and Wildmen Wild Boar Hunt. And it's going to be in Texas, Hondo, Texas, November 16th to the 18th. We will kill the beast. We will roast the beast. We will pray. We'll bring heaven down. Rich, it's going to be a hootenanny.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be good stuff. You can find it over at warriorsandwildmen.com. Tons of products over there, books galore. We're about to dump in some premium audio content you can want to get the hands on. And yeah, subscribe, follow us. Am I missing anything, Richard?
So go to Warriors and Wildmen, subscribe to the podcast, rate us, review us, go to Facebook, like us, put in a request to join our closed group. Find out what's going on there. Warriors and Wildmen, rocking the Casbah.